All right, so recently Caroline challenged me. So my son is in elementary school. He's nowhere near moving out, but she challenged me if I could make a kit with 10 tools that he could take with him when he moved out to his first apartment, what 10 tools would I pack up for him? And it really took me a long time to figure out exactly what 10 tools, because 10 tools, when I think about like my son and what he's going to be doing, which isn't much, because if it's something complicated, he's going to call me and have me do it, right? And so it's not going to be much. And so when I go to like bare bones basics, 10's too much. But then when I start elaborating and getting into different projects that he might want to do, 10's not enough. And so I went back and forth. The other thing is I didn't include any power tools because he's not going to keep batteries charged. He's not going to upkeep any of this stuff. And so I want it to be as low maintenance as possible. And so these are the 10 tools that I came up with. And I think anybody can benefit from this list. If you're moving out of your parents' house for the first time, if you're moving into an apartment by yourself for the first time, if you've always had somebody that you could turn to fix things and now that person's no longer with you, here's 10 things that can get you started on being a little bit more independent. So the first tool is a tape measure. Everyone needs a tape measure. You might even need 2 tape measures. The thing a tape measure does is it saves you a ton of money. Like this shelf right here. If I was going to buy something to put on this shelf, I could estimate it's about 3 feet, right? But when I measure it, it is 34 inches, which is 2 inches shy of 3 feet. So if I bought something that was 3 feet to put on this shelf, people would constantly be bumping into it and be falling down. It'll probably break. It's not going to handle being up here, right? And so I'm either going to have to throw it away because it's broken. I'm going to have to exchange it or return it. And it's going to be a hassle, all because I didn't have a tape measure. Or like at your entertainment center, is your entertainment center going to fit in the space? Measure it first. Don't buy something and hope it fits. Measure to see how much space you have, and then buy exactly what you need. Buy exactly what's going to fit, exactly everything. A couch, we have a big sectional. Before we got it, I asked, how big is it? And they told me, I measured it. I'm like, yep, we'll come pick it up. Because that was the deal. We could have it as long as we picked it up, because it's big. And so I made sure it fit first before we even bothered going and getting it, before we even bothered looking at it. I made sure that it would fit in our space first. And so the money that we've saved not buying things that don't fit and not having to return or exchange or modify things, a tape measure is a very important tool. A lot of people don't think about it as an important tool or a money-saving tool, but it really, really is. Measure twice, cut once, measure 3 times, buy once. Next, so because there is no power tools, I don't have a drill. Everything's transitioning over to screws. Everybody's screwing everything together nowadays. But if you don't have a drill, you probably still need a hammer, right? If you're going to be hanging pictures and decorating and putting things together, a hammer and nail is still going to get the job done, and it's going to get it done just as easy as a drill will. And so having a hammer, having the right nails is going to really make a lot of jobs easier. If you have to stick 2 things together, a nail will stick it together. It's not as tight as a screw, but it will be just as strong as a screw. So a hammer can get a lot of things done around the house or apartment. Next is going to be an Allen key set. So this is a Husky. It's metric and imperial. There was a clip holding these together so that they were together, but the clip broke as I was setting up this video. But Allen keys, I almost didn't include Allen keys because everything you buy comes with an Allen key, right? My office chair, everything comes with a tiny little Allen key that you can use to assemble whatever it is you bought. The problem is those Allen keys, because they're just loose, because they're just the little junk freebie ones, they get thrown away, they get lost. You know, having a set that you can go to, find the right size. If my office chair, if the arm starts getting loose, I don't go try to track down the Allen key that came with it. I grab my set, I find the right size, and I tighten it. I put it back in my set, and I put my set in a safe spot. So no matter what, an end table, kitchen table, office chair, kitchen chairs, whatever I need an Allen key for, I can easily find what I need. I can get the right size, I can get it tightened, I can get it fixed up. And so having a set, even though everything comes with an Allen key, the set, keeping everything together, is really going to save you a lot of time and frustration, not having to hunt down all these different size Allen keys. Next is with the Allen, sometimes you'll have a nut and a bolt, and so there'll be a nut on one side and an Allen on the other. And so having a crescent wrench, a adjustable wrench, this just helps you get on different size nuts and bolts. A socket set is better, but if you're not going to have a complete socket set, because I could only have 10 things, this will do the job. It will fit on lots of different size nuts, and you can tighten a lot of different things with an adjustable wrench. Next is going to be a channel locks. Now, just like the adjustable wrench, the channel locks is going to be able to get onto a lot of different things, but it's going to mar it up. It's got teeth on it that are going to mar up whatever you clamp down on. And so you have to be careful with that. But when you need to take apart a P-trap from your sink, so let's say you drop a ring or something important down the sink, a little screw to one of your gadgets goes down the drain, it gets caught in the P-trap. And you can take that P-trap off and then drain out whatever it is you need, and then you'll retrieve it. This helps you get the nuts and bolts off the P-trap. It helps you clamp on to different things of different sizes. You can use it to clamp onto hot things. If you have something hot, you can clamp onto it and use it for that. It's just kind of an all-in-one tool. You can use it as a pliers. You can use it as to tighten things. You can use it on the other side if you have a nut and a bolt. You can use these on opposite sides of each other. There's just a lot you can do with a channel locks. The one thing you're probably going to use the most is going to be a multi-bit screwdriver. Make sure it has a number 1 and a number 2 Phillips. That's a flathead. You're going to use this all the time. There's a lot of things that come with screws. A lot of times in order to get to batteries, when you have a new remote, when you have a new TV, when you have a lot of different things, most things have a tiny little screw where you need a number 1 Phillips to get the screw out so you can change the batteries. This is what's going to get that done. And so having a Phillips screwdriver or a multi-bit screwdriver is really going to come in handy. You're going to use it more than you think. Next, it's a box cutter. When you get a new place, right? It's new, you have a lot of stuff. But when you go from a bedroom to a whole apartment, you realize you actually don't have that much stuff. You really don't. And so when you're getting more things, when you're getting end tables and entertainment centers and shelves and all the different things, they all come in boxes. They all come in packaging. You need to open that packaging. Now, even though a lot of us carry an EDC, we have an EDC knife, having something with a removable blade that you can, once it gets dull, just chuck it out, put a new one in, is going to save you a lot of time, especially for somebody that's not going to sit there and sharpen their knives every night before bed, right? You're going to get a lot of packaging, you're going to dull that knife with a lot of cardboard, and having something that you can easily keep sharp just by swapping out blades, it's going to save you a lot of time and energy and frustration. Next is a headlamp. So it gets dark. If you're going to be taking apart a P-trap, if you're going to be putting things together, a lot of times the ceiling light or the lamp is never in the right spot. And so having a headlamp where you can light up whatever it is you're working on, when you get a new shelving unit and you have the sides on and you're trying to get the middle in, being able to light up the middle of that shelf, being able to light up different things, even if you don't have it attached to your head, even if you just set it somewhere to give you a little bit of extra light, it really comes in handy. And when you can see what you're doing, again, it makes it a lot easier. It's a lot less frustrating. So a good headlamp is a really good option. Next is combination square. To be honest, I usually use a speed square. I hardly ever use a combination square, but this just gives you a multitude of tools. You have a 45, you have a 90, you have a ruler in inches and metric, you have a level, you have a scribe as long as you haven't lost it, so you can mark wood and different things very precisely. You can use it just like a speed square, so if you do end up getting a circular saw, you can guide it on the compound square. It's not as good as the speed square. It does rock a little bit if you don't get a good one, but it can still do everything a speed square can do, kind of. It doesn't have all the measurements and markings as a speed square does, but when it comes to keeping things square, level, installing shelves, installing different things, this is going to get it done. So there's that. And if you're going to be cutting things to size, Japanese pull saw. Why a Japanese pull saw specifically? Because it's 2 blades in one. It's literally the only reason. They're also very, very easy to use. And so you have a rip saw and a crosscut saw on the same tool. Just be very careful. I've done it a couple times now. I'll use my thumb to guide my cut, and then once you get to a certain part in the wood, I'll pull and then I'll chew up my thumb because I'll forget to get my thumb out of the way. I'll be concentrating on keeping this thing straight and true, and then I'll pull right across my thumb. I've done that a few times now, so be very, very careful if you're using this. But again, it's 2 in 1. You could get 2 separate saws that are safer, but because I was restricted to 10 tools, I cheated and I got 2 in 1. So with these 10 tools, you should be able to maintain yourself really well. All of the IKEA furniture, all of the Walmart bookshelves, end tables, entertainment centers, tables, desktops. You can do a lot of work with just these 10 tools. Most of it's going to be some sort of a Phillips, some sort of an Allen, some sort of a nut. Usually it's not even a nut and a bolt. It's an Allen and a nut. Hanging pictures, hanging shelves. When you're screwing into a wall using a Phillips, it's going to take you some time, might take you some effort if you hit a stud anyway. If you're using anchors, drywall anchors, you just use a hammer and then screw in with the screwdriver. I did that for a long time. This screwdriver is all I had when we first bought this house. All I had was this screwdriver, and I did a lot of work with this and my Leatherman Wave. So it doesn't take a lot. Go to, and brand doesn't matter. People get so uptight about brands and makes and models. Go to Harbor Freight, go to Walmart, go to whatever. Buy these tools for cheap. You're not going to be using them all the time, right? You're going to buy a new piece of furniture once every few years, right? It's not like you're buying one every day. No one can afford that. When you first move in, you might, but you'll be able to make do. With these 10 tools, you'll be able to make do with the cheaper stuff. Don't fall for the hype. That's what I want to say. Get the stuff that's cheap. If it breaks, upgrade it. If it doesn't break, great. Keep using it, keep doing what you're doing, and it's not as bad as you think it's going to be. So thank you so much for watching, and I cannot wait to see you on my next video.